From touring in a band and entertaining people live, Ash has been absolutely crushing out not just one game or platform, but multiple games and platforms. Leaning into his strengths that he knows plays well with the video game that he's interested in, Ash has been doing a phenomenal job of building his brand. Let's go and take a listen to his story.
I love the short form because you can take what was already there, and especially because I like to do comedy content, you can take what's already there and add things in editing to either make a non-funny thing funny or take something real funny and make it even funnier. Doing short form with those quick cuts, and even mine are like 2 minutes long, like you can just take a non-funny line, sandwich it between two super tense moments, and then the line's hilarious. You know what I mean?
What's something that's recently changed with your content or self that maybe has helped you grow in your brand?
I would say recognizing like priorities has been big recently, and kind of taking note of what other platforms bring versus live streaming. So all stream stuff, short form, long form, with streaming, and kind of finding out priorities. So recently, very recently, as of last week, I'm taking out an extra day of streaming. I'm taking out like my Fridays to focus more on other platforms and stuff, because I mean, when you really look at it, that's kind of what drives people to the live stream, you know, and I felt like building up revenue there to supplement that would be the best course of action, especially because you know how live streaming platforms are right now. You know, everyone's mad at Twitch, everyone hates this platform, everyone's against this platform, so you don't know which way it's going to go. So realizing that and like trying to set priorities has kind of changed my approach on how I do it, just to save myself if anything happens. It has changed a little bit for scheduling, and will it work? I don't know. I think it will, but we'll find out.
You recently swapped kind of your main game as well, right? Like, how recent was that?
I was playing Escape from Tarkov pretty much since I started streaming, like mid 2020, all the way up until February of this year. I mean, you've played Tarkov. As wipe goes on, it gets a little stale, and then wipe happens and you get back into it. It just got to the point where it got so stale, and then this wipe to me sucked, you know, like some of the changes I didn't like, and it just got to the point where it's like, I can't do this to my brain anymore. It started to get to the point where I was dreading doing it, you know, and that's never the spot you want to be in. So I was like, well, I have to make a change for me. So the mindset going into that was pretty much, let's try some things. I think between February and March, I played 16 different games trying to like figure it out, and kind of landed on DayZ as the one that felt the most natural for the kind of content. And it's the same kind of content, but it works better in DayZ. The reception at first with the live crowd was what you'd expect. You know, there was a pretty decent fall off of you know, viewers. There was a decent amount of core that stayed, which was very helpful. And like I said, other platforms, especially TikTok, were able to bring in more of a DayZ type viewership.
Obviously, being a musician in the past as well, I guess, could you even give us a bit of insight on that, and then what kind of transitioned you over to putting gaming content up?
When I was in my late teens, like I just played guitar as a teenager, you know, casually, and I ended up filling in for one of my buddies' bands because they lost their guitarist, quit or kicked out, whatever, and they ended up just asking me to hang out and stay along, and it ended up going pretty well, and we ended up touring and stuff. I just loved entertaining people. As an 18-year-old, that stuff's real fun, you know. 18, 19-year-old, you're waking up in a new city every day. Badass. It's cool, right? In your mid-20s, not as cool, because you have bills to pay now, and like half the time I was homesick, and by the time I left, I was already with my wife for I think 5 or 6 years, and I just wanted to be home with her. I was like, well, you know what, let's just put this behind me. It's not for me anymore. And I ended up just working like a 9-to-5 regular job for a few years. The transition to content creating it was during, like a lot of people, it was during lockdown. I never watched streamers. I didn't know what it was about. Like, I always just assumed streamers were like the best gamers showing off their skills. I respect it, but it wasn't something that I was into, and I suck. I suck at games. I have fun, but I'm not like a sweat in games. But it was actually your videos on Facebook, your CO videos, I started seeing, and I was like, wow, like I never thought about the humor aspect of this, you know. And like, as much as I like playing music, humor was always my strongest like suit. And I was like, now this guy I'm watching, it's hilarious, but he's also good at the game. I was like, I wonder if I can be funny enough to where people will watch me even if I suck at the game, you know. So, and I was like, you know what, this is something I could, even though it's something I didn't consider before, I was like, this is something I could do at home, you know, stay home with my wife. It's something it's another thing that I love, just like music was video games, you know. I can entertain, be funny. I can do my video editing that I used to do anyway. It just shifted to gaming. You know, I had graphic design background. I was like, this, I never thought of it, but this seems like I can put everything together into one, you know. And I was like, let's give it a shot. It's been great. I love it.
What are kind of your future goals for your content and where you want to develop out towards?
The most recent plans for me is kind of steady as she goes for the content, because I'm prioritizing myself a little bit right now, you know, because the way my schedule is right now, I wake up, you know, I post TikTok, I'm pre-editing, I call it. Then I'll stream, and then I'm editing a TikTok for the next day. And the TikToks now for me take 3 to 6 hours. They used to take 20 minutes in the other game, you know? So with the storytelling TikToks, they take like 3 to 6 hours because my TikToks are now 4, 5, 6 minutes long sometimes. It killed, like, the nighttime was my free time. And now I'm editing till midnight, and then I want to like relax, so I'll try to play a game, and all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I gotta go to bed. And then like you feel up against the ropes all week. And then Saturdays and Sundays were me, like, even if it wasn't a full day, it was me cleaning up everything I couldn't get to the week prior. I started to get to the point where I'm like, I gotta do something. My priority right now is like I said, I cut out the Friday so I can edit all day that day. So hopefully I get my Saturdays and Sundays back, and I get my nights back. So right now, when it comes to that is my main goal and priority. But yeah, I am looking at other games because I think with the way my brain works, games will get stale quicker.
You do less total videos on YouTube. Are those kind of you taking the ones that are the longer stories that you want to put there? Is it a reformat of the content that you're doing on TikTok video into YouTube as well, or do you keep them all separate?
Right now, they're somewhat separate. There are lives that more things happen like start to finish. That's where I think YouTube. But yeah, YouTube's only twice a week, so it's easier to like pick and choose those. You know, TikToks are every day, so I could find a short life. Even if there was a couple funny things that happen, I'll do my best to package it together. If there's unfunny stuff, I'll use editing like I talked about earlier to try to make it funny, whether it's music or little one-liners here and there to make it flow. But those specifically wouldn't work for a YouTube video. And as of right now, I do all my own TikToks, and then I have an editor doing my YouTube, you know, so there is a decent separation there. But I am thinking of, with the new plan and new schedule, kind of making it more cohesive, like you were just saying, to where I'm going to cut everything. I'm going to cut the YouTubes, and then I will reformat them into TikToks. I will select the music, and then the editors will do all the, you know, polish afterwards, captions and all that. This way, everything now feels like my style, you know what I mean? And more cohesive. Because right now, with the time difference, I'll post a TikTok and people are like, where is it on YouTube? And I was like, well, you see, the thing is, I do the TikTok. I did the TikTok last night because it happened yesterday and it's posted today. You know, the other, and I post five times a week. You know, YouTube, I have to send it out and it'll be edited. So like, you might not see this TikTok on YouTube till a month later, and that's just how it is. So hopefully this kind of tightens it up a little bit, but that's kind of the way I looked at it in the past and kind of the way I'm looking at it in the future.
How much are you taking the input from the audience versus being the decision maker on it?
So when it comes to like planning in general, I do consider what everyone says, you know, ahead of time, and I'll kind of play through it in my head. Sometimes I'll know what game they're talking about, and I just know that's not me. But I will take consideration for that. But in game, yeah, they're all goblins. You know, kill this guy, eat this guy. But instead of listening to them, and sometimes you know, you deny, and then finally do it, and you get to the little quick look at the camera, like, oh no, I listened to you guys for once. But that also adds like that like push and pull dynamic with the community. When they're like, kill this guy, I'm like, I'm not killing this guy. Like, I'm a good man, you know. And then if it eventually plays up to me having to do it, you know, they're like, oh, we knew you'd crack eventually. So it adds a dynamic live that I love to play into. But yeah, it's fun.
What advice would you have for other creators?
One thing that's been brought up a lot, which I feel like is a fitting thing to give advice for, is switching games. Really diversify everywhere else, you know, keep content flowing everywhere else, even if it seems down. And another thing is when you're switching games or something like that, kind of keep the same style at first, but those two things together, like making it as similar as you can, at least at first, to make it smooth, and diversifying to really get the eyes out there for something new, and kind of like don't get too hung up on numbers. Everyone says the same advice, you know, when it comes to that. Don't get too hung up on viewer numbers and stuff when you're doing things. Change is important, and there's always everyone who's done it deals with it. Everyone, you know, you will get that fall off, but you've done it before. You know, you've grown before where you're at. You can grow again, and in fact, you're in a better position than you were when you grew the first time, because you learned a lot. You know what I mean? So I definitely recommend, if someone's in that spot, to do that. You know, save your mental, but really plan out the way you do it, and there's a lot of smart ways you can do it.
Be sure to give Ash a follow on all of his platforms, and we'll see you in the next one.